life has got so much to offer. I'm curious about you. What makes you tick? Yeah, yeah, yeah. When you smile, you light up the room. Yeah. No matter where you go, there's a light that follows you. There's a light inside of you. I can find you there with love happening. Love is happening. Love is happening everywhere. Check the birds, check the bees, check the fish in the seas. Feel the joy simmer underneath your soul. And no, feel that rhythm. Yeah, make you go, make you move your step with a groove. Yeah, yeah. La 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 la. Boo 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 doo doo. Ba da ba doo ba doo 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 doo. Na 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 na. Diddle 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 doo doo. Yeah. Do do bo ba 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 ba. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, I've got to move my step. Ooh, keep up with life. It's moving us on to the next step. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Pick it up now. Life's got surprises because it loves you. Even in the dark, it wants to hold you.
Good morning. Welcome to Unity of Beaverton. This is our becoming very regular Sunday service brought to you by means of technology and Dan Crothers. So we are very grateful for both of those things being available right here at our church. So I just wonder how you're all doing in this time, and it's kind of what we'll be talking about today. Things are really different, and from one day to the next, we don't know if we're going to be let out or if we should stay in. We're not sure quite where we stand. So there's a little that being in the unknown that's going on right now, and I know that I am feeling quite touched by it all. So I'm wondering if you are also. So let's begin and center ourselves, and we will read the daily word for today. It is Sunday, May 10th, Mother's Day. Mother's blessing. I honor all mothers, and I am grateful for their love. I bless my mother and am grateful to her for the gift of nurturing love. Whether my mother is still with me or has passed on, her love still lives in my heart, and her wisdom continues to inspire me. I am grateful for the many ways my mother has blessed me. I also feel deep appreciation and tender affection for all those who have blessed me with their selfless gift of motherly love. I would not be who I am without them. Through the living example of the mothers in my life, I pass along the blessings of a mother's care and devotion as I embrace opportunities to share an affirming thought, an encouraging word, a smile, or a simple act of kindness. I honor my mother and all mothers as I share the love of God that never fails. And the quote for today is, "She opens her mouth with wisdom, and the teaching of kindness is on her tongue." And that's from Proverbs 31:26. I have so many memories of Mother's Day, beginning when my brothers and sisters and I were little, and we would go into the kitchen and make breakfast for Mother and coffee, and of course have to bring it to her in bed, which, I later discovered how wonderful that was and how much I appreciated it when my children made me pancakes that were cooked halfway through. But it was such a wonderful time to be able to give to our mom who, did everything for us, who took care of us, who fed us, cleaned up behind us, and, put us to bed at night. Every night she would come in and give each one of us a kiss and a hug, and as she would walk out of the room, her last words were always, "Say your prayers." So, and of course, that was after the time when she would sit with us while we say them. So even as an adult, when she would stay with me or I would stay with her, she would always end the evening with "Say your prayers." And that became a habit, of saying my prayers. It was good. It was a good thing for me to have that reminder every night. My mom is gone, and I talk to her every single day, and I miss her, and yet at the same time, I feel very close to her. I feel her very close to me, and I think that has so much to do with the kind of mother she was. So I know that myself and my siblings were very blessed to have found this brave, strong, rebellious tiny woman to nurture us and take care of us and to be our mom. So for all of you mothers out there who have received those breakfasts in bed and spilt coffee and, whatever else went along with it, my heart is with you today. If that's not the case right now, if the kids are all grown and gone, and now it looks as if we won't be with our mothers, and we won't be with our children, and we won't be with our grandchildren in the physical way that we're used to. So, this is a time that we can do that distant appreciation, have the phone calls, do the Zoom calls, do whatever it takes to connect with your family and recognize that they're never far away. Everyone that you love is in your heart now and forever. So, thank you. Let's open with a prayer. Or maybe first I'll open with who I am. There may be some of you watching that are not familiar with Unity of Beaverton. Unity of Beaverton is a church associated with Worldwide Unity, located in Missouri. And we are this church is based on unity principles. And this is called a positive approach to spirituality, and or a positive approach to Christianity. It is a positive approach to coming to know yourself as one with God, and to find God and live with God in your every day. So, let us pray. Holy Mother God, that which birthed this life, which carried us in her womb for so long, and today even yet carries so many births yet to come in that everlasting womb. Whether life and new life is a new idea, a new way of being, a new understanding, or a new being coming into this plane. We are grateful for all the gifts that this mother has provided us for. We have this beautiful blue planet in the middle of our universe, not even in the middle of our galaxy, but on the edge of our galaxy and in this solar system. And life continues for now. It has been here on this planet for billions of years, and it continues. And it evolves, and it changes, and it grows, and it expands, as does the consciousness of life here on this world, in this world, and of this world. We seek to grow, to know more about our source, to know more about our purpose, to know more about what is next, and what is now. So let us be in this now moment and say thank you, Mother. Thank you for all the gifts that we have been given. And I release this word of gratitude and appreciation back into the universe, and so it is. Amen. So, today I'm going to be, of course, focusing on mothers, on rebirth, and I have chosen a book that I would like to begin with. Let's see. Okay, there we go. I'm opening the book. That's what I want. This is When Things Fall Apart. The book is When Things Fall Apart, and it is by Pema Chodron. And she is a Tibetan Buddhist leader. She is truly one of the most remarkable spiritual teachers we have on this planet right now. And she's written very many books. But this When Things Fall Apart is a book that many people I know carry with them everywhere they go and always rely on it to see what wisdom it holds when things fall apart. So in the very beginning, this is a quote by Pema Chodron. About her, it is one of those spiritual teachers who brings ancient wisdom to bear upon our daily triumphs and tragedies, incredibly wise and poignantly practical. And I would say that is so, having read this beautiful book. So I'm getting to the very beginning here, past all of the let's see, there's the table of contents, acknowledgments, introduction. That's where I was looking to go. So she says in the beginning here, in 1995, I took a sabbatical. For 12 months, I essentially did nothing. It was the most spiritually inspiring time of my life. Pretty much all I did was relax. I read and hiked and slept. I cooked and ate, meditated and wrote. I had no schedule, no agenda, and no shoulds. A lot got digested during this completely open, uncharted time. For one thing, I began to read slowly through 2 cardboard boxes of very raw, unedited transcriptions of talks I had given. And unlike the Datham talks that make up the wisdom of no escape and the Lojong teachings that make up Start Where You Are, these talks seemed to have no unifying thread. Now and then I would look at a few transcripts, and I found them everything from pedantic to delightful. And so I read this to let you know that it is out of this seeming chaos, that this little book was birthed, and it came into being. So what she says here, chaos should be regarded as extremely good news. And that can be good news right now, because, we're certainly living in this moment of chaos. When things fall apart, it is a time to become up close and right in the midst of it. But so often, things are falling apart in other parts of the world. They're falling apart for other people, for other, societies, civilizations. A few months back, we had those fires in Australia. And the pictures that came out of there and the stories were horrific. But we could turn off the TV and feel disconnected from that. There's fighting, terrible starvation and famine going on in Venezuela right now. And we can listen to a few moments of that, and gosh, that's really bad. And this is kind of upsetting me. I don't want to watch this, and turn off the television. So what we're walking away from is the pain and the suffering. There is a man who, right after the Oklahoma bombing, he had just recently become a father. And he watched those first responders as they walked out of that building carrying those little bodies, because remember, there was a nursery school there on the first floor for all the people that worked in the building. And so here were all of these children who had perished in this disaster. And this man was feeling what every parent, he felt the grief and the loss of every parent. You see, he had just become a father, and he had, of course, no idea what that was going to mean to him. And so he suffered with those people who had experienced those losses. He realized they were his losses also. And he sat with that pain and allowed himself to feel what was happening in the world and feel the connection to those people who lost children. And what he discovered was true connection and love that he had never felt before for others. And so what we come to know is with intimacy brings on fear. Intimacy with fear. Fear is a natural reaction to moving closer to the truth. So when we get ready to start on this spiritual journey, we so often think of ourselves as getting ready to climb a mountain. And we leave everything else behind, right? We're going to leave our cares and our woes and the kind of work that we do and who we're married to, and we're just going to climb this mountain until we find that spiritual reality that we hear about. And that is going to be our destiny. And so we climb the mountain until we get to the very peak and look out over everything. And we have gone the wrong way. We have gone the wrong direction to find that spiritual connection. Because the journey to enlightenment is actually within. It is down and into the very depths of our being. She said that, that we cannot be aware of that until we begin the journey. We cannot know that ahead of time. We think of enlightenment as being, free from the cares of the world. But then, we're not connected to the world. We're not a part of the world. Mother Teresa was enlightened. Mother Teresa was in the depths. She wiped the tears of souls and she held them as they died, and she fed them and helped to bring them back to health. She was right in the midst of the suffering and the pain. And what she came to know was love as a verb. Love is a verb when it's practiced the way Mother Teresa practiced it. And she was such an amazing teacher to us. So I'm looking here for some quotes and questions that we can, I'm going to get by this chapter, excuse me. So the next time you encounter fear, consider yourself lucky. You know that story of be the witness in the midst and in the depths of pain? Be the witness to it. Say, whoa, wow, what's this coming at me? I never had this experience. What is this feeling? What is that thinking? And observe it close up. Get really close to it and observe. This, then, is where courage comes in. Usually we think that brave people have no fear. The truth is that they are intimate with fear. So, we what we do instead of becoming intimate with fear is we look for any way possible to get out of it. One way is to turn off the television when the news is getting where you're going to be upset by it, when you're going to worry and, have to feel for people and what they are experiencing. So we turn that off and we look for distractions. Oh my gosh, we love our distractions. And right now, this is a perfect time for this message because we have eliminated so many of our distractions. They're not available to us. And we're finding ourselves pretty uncomfortable and going about finding new ways to be distracted. I know that just about everybody I have talked to has mentioned the idea of food as a distraction, and talk about the kind of weight that we're all going to need to lose when this is over. It's not because we're hungry, because we're probably not doing as much as we were before, but it's a way of soothing, it's comforting, and it gives comfort, literally, to us. And, television, Netflix is a big one. So between Netflix and ice cream, you can just put yourself away from a lot of that fear. My screen just went black, and I always forget how to bring it back. There we go. So rather than, as I said, to get in there, and the trick is to keep exploring what is going on and don't bail out. So even when we find out that something is not what we thought, let's stay with it. That's where we're going to discover again and again and again. Especially if you have found yourself someplace new. If you're going to the same old, it's like, what do you eat on Tuesdays? Well, I eat tacos. It's Taco Tuesday, and yet that wasn't really available this past Taco Tuesday, and so I had to think about eating something different. And it could have been, instead of the same old, something brand new. It's the same thing in every area of our life. When we find ourselves feeling new pain, experiencing new feelings, having different things, different choices that we've had to make that we've not had to make before, don't walk away. Don't turn away. Don't close your eyes. Stay with it and see what it is that this has to offer you. So when things fall apart and we're on the verge of we know not what, the test of each of us is to stay on that brink and concretize. It's like concretize. I'm not sure what that means. I don't think I've ever seen that word before, but I'm sure if I go on here, she'll tell us. The spiritual journey is not about heaven and finally getting to a place that's really swell. It's about being in reality. It's about being in the truth. We absolutely do not want to bail out when there is something really interesting to gain. So one of the things that we can experience as well in our life that always can stop us cold are obstacles. You find a lot of obstacles, especially in relationships. Relationships are just bound to create obstacles for us, where we think we know exactly where we're going. And yet we're in this relationship with the neighbor, with the person we work with our best friend, with our spouse, our partner, with a child. That relationship is not created and managed, and it doesn't evolve just through the one person. right? It doesn't exist just by myself. So what it requires is my working with, my living with, my being in close contact with this other person. So relationships are not a place that we get to be in charge. And of course, right there, we have hit what may very well be an obstacle, because we may be used to being in charge. We may be used to having somebody else make all the decisions. We may be on either side of that. But, it's a brand new thing when it's a relationship. And in order to maneuver on that path, we have to be constantly present, constantly paying attention to everything that's going on and taking cues for what is actually going on in the present. You cannot have a relationship tomorrow or last week. Being in a relationship means being in the now and listening to what is happening now. And being in your heart now and moving from there. So it is a constant changing cycle. It constantly changes and often reaches places where it falls apart. It falls apart so it can come back together again in whatever form that looks at. What she has asked, she says, when anybody asks me how I got involved in Buddhism, I always say it was because I was so angry with my husband. The truth is that he saved my life. When that marriage fell apart, I tried hard, very, very hard, to go back to some kind of comfort, some kind of security, some kind of familiar resting place. Fortunately for me, I could never pull it off. And I'll tell you why. And this is something that I have had this experience, and I'm sure many of you have too. And it is when things are falling apart, everything is being lost in that moment. What looks like everything. And it's so wise. Craig sent me a story this week about, it just crossed my mind. I just read about this, that in a conversation with God and saying, God, you have to help me. You have to help me. I am falling apart. Look, I'm just coming apart in pieces. And God said, good. This is good. Let it go. No, don't you see? I need this piece. I have to pick up that piece. And God said, no, my child, leave it. It's done. Leave it all go. And, it's like, are you sure? What? I don't know. This is my life we're talking about. These things that are falling apart. This relationship I've had since I was a child. This job I worked through school for. This is everything I have worked for. I know, God said. Let it go. Let it go. And so my teacher called that being dismantled, being completely dismantled, because you can't be reconnected, and you certainly don't want to be reconnected to those all things. You want to come back together with all brand new ideas and ways of being and ways of thinking and things that you feel about. And everything that is not there for your good any longer has fallen away. Don't waste a moment trying to get it back. Let it go. Let it go. So I went through this in my mid-40s. It was devastating. I'm telling you, it was a devastating time. It felt to me like everything except my children were gone. It felt like my friends were gone. My job was gone. The place that I lived, everything I knew, it was all gone. And I didn't know where to turn. So I didn't. I just stayed still. And it was at that very time that I walked for the first time into a New Thought church. And when I heard that minister tell that about falling apart, about being dismantled, I remember the relief that I felt, because I had felt like such a failure, a complete failure. And I realized in some little glimmer, there was a glimmer of an idea that said, I'm being prepared for something new. And I had no idea what it was, but I decided to just keep walking. Just keep walking and allow what was to come to find me. I didn't want to look for it because I didn't know at the time what it would even look like. So I allowed that time for it to find me. One of the things that we often do during these times is we hope. And I know I have shocked people before when I say that hope can be a devastating thing to do. When your hope is about, somebody riding in on a white horse or winning the lottery or things just magically being all better, that won't serve. That won't serve you. It doesn't serve you. It doesn't serve any of us. That's not the hope that we want. What we want is the hope that says, I am walking through this and I can do this. I am able to walk through this loss, whatever it is. I am able to walk through this. And things will come together. Things will come together when that is time. But right now, I'm going to experience this as a spiritual experience. I'm not going to judge it as something that I did wrong. I'm not going to judge it as something that somebody did to me. Oh my gosh, does anything in the world stop our growth faster than the thought that somebody else did this to me? When we can stand right on the brink of disaster, and look it in the face and say, I see you, and I know this too shall pass. Undoubtedly, this too shall pass. So this quarantine that we're in, and this virus that we're, watching make sick so many people and taking so many lives and closing the economy and everything else that has come of it, it shall pass. Don't miss out on what's happening in your life right now. Become that voyeur. Watch it unfold, and know that in reality, you are fine. It is your courage to see the pain, to feel the pain, to witness the pain that will carry you into the next chapter of your life. And there will be more chapters. And this will, at some point, be a thing of the past that we'll talk about. You know, we'll all remember where we were, how we handled it, what happened. It will all be a part of what we walked through with courage and grace and love and connection. Namaste. Thank you. So this is the time, typically in our service, where we send our ushers to get the baskets and pass them along through the aisles, and everybody who doesn't give once a month or write a check or send money online, you know, that all the people that bring their gifts to the church, those gifts are collected. And so prior to that, before we do, there is an affirmation, a blessing that we say. And for those of you who know this, I hope you will say it with me. Divine love, moving in and through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God. And we want to thank you. Thank you so much for your generous gifts and tithes that is continuing to support this church during this time. And we look forward to the time when we can come back into our sanctuary and enjoy this beautiful space once again. I want you to know that Carlos will be cleaning the floors here for us, as he does a couple of times a year. So he will be doing that early this week. So when we do come back, everything will be shiny and clean. I want to let you know also and remind you of the work and the effort that Dan does here, and how much we truly appreciate him and his art that he gives us by means of the music and the production of this video. So thank you, Dan Crothers, very, very much. So I guess we will close for another week. I surely look forward to seeing you. Do not forget our Zoom meeting is at noon on Monday to Friday. And you can find that and how to connect to that link on our website, www.unityofbeaverton.org. What also is now on our website, I am so happy to tell you, is our Sunday services. Up on the right in the middle of the screen, at the top of the screen, is a drop down that you can click on, and it says Sunday services. And what's there is last week's service, and I'm hoping as we attach this week's service video to it, it will be on top of the other one, and they will both be there for you to view. This service will also be on YouTube and on Facebook. So you will get all of those links in the email that I will send out to you tomorrow night once we get this ready to be up. So, thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a wonderful, wonderful week, and go in love. Namaste.
If we could see through the eyes of an innocent child, we could feel without wondering why. If we could be